Welcome to our deep dive into the swashbuckling world of pirates. Today, we're uncovering the tales of the 10 most notorious pirates who ever sailed the seven seas. From their daring escapades to their fearsome reputations, join us as we explore the lives and legacies of these legendary figures. At number 10, we have Charles Vane. Charles Vane was one of the most notorious pirates, known for his cunning and ruthless nature during the golden age of piracy. He was active along the American eastern seaboard and the Bahamas in the early 18th century. Vane was notorious for his staunch refusal to accept pardons for piracy and his brutal treatment of captives and fellow pirates alike. Vane's career was marked by a series of bold and successful plundering operations, but he was also known for his wild unpredictability and for turning on his allies. In 1718, when pirate hunters were closing in during the height of pirate crackdowns, Vane famously escaped capture by deliberately setting his own ship on fire and sailing it into a fleet of pirate hunters, creating chaos and allowing his escape in a smaller sloop. However, his luck eventually ran out. After being shipwrecked during a hurricane, Vane was captured, tried, and hanged in Port Royal in 1721. His legacy is a blend of audacious bravery and reckless defiance, epitomizing the perilous life of piracy. At number 9, we have Samuel Bellamy, also known as Black Sam. Samuel Bellamy, known as Black Sam for his rejection of the fancy wigs worn by men of his time and his preference for tying back his long black hair with a simple band, was celebrated for his charismatic leadership and egalitarian principles. Bellamy embarked on his piracy career in the early 18th century and quickly became notorious, amassing significant wealth in a short period. His most famous capture was the Whydah Galley, a heavily armed slave ship filled with gold and silver from the Windward Passage. Bellamy's success was short-lived, however. In 1717, just a year after capturing the Whydah, Bellamy perished when the ship sank during a storm off the coast of Cape Cod, taking with it a vast treasure that remains the subject of treasure hunts to this day. Bellamy was known among his crew as the Robin Hood of the sea, and he is often remembered for his purported declaration that he was a free prince and that all had a right to the freedom and riches of the world, highlighting his pirate utopian ideals. At number 8, we have Jack Rackham. John Rackham, better known as Calico Jack, earned his nickname from the colorful calico clothing he wore. Active during the golden age of piracy in the early 18th century, Calico Jack was not the most successful pirate in terms of wealth acquired, but he became famous for his distinctive Jolly Roger flag design, skulls with crossed swords, which has become synonymous with piracy. Calico Jack is also renowned for his association with two of the most famous female pirates, Anne Bonny and Mary Read. This trio was notorious for their daring exploits across the Caribbean. Despite his reputation, Jack's piratical career was relatively short. He was captured by pirate hunter Captain Jonathan Barnett in 1720 while anchored near Jamaica. Rackham and his crew were brought to trial and subsequently hanged. His legacy lives on, largely due to his romantic relationships and the iconic flag that remains a symbol of piracy. At number 7, we have Franois LOL. Franois LOL was a notoriously brutal French pirate active in the Caribbean during the 1660s. Born Jean-David Now in France, he escaped to the Caribbean as an indentured servant and quickly gained a reputation as a fearsome pirate. Lolonet is best known for his extreme cruelty toward Spanish prisoners, often mutilating or killing them in gruesome ways if they did not cooperate or provide valuable information. His hatred for the Spanish was legendary, and he is rumored to have even practiced cannibalism on his captives. Lolonet led numerous successful raids along the Spanish Main, sacking towns and seizing ships. However, his savage reputation eventually led to his downfall. According to legend, Lolonet was shipwrecked near the coast of Panama and, unable to escape, was captured and eaten by a tribe of indigenous people, meeting a grim end that mirrored his own merciless actions. At number 6, we have Henry Every. Henry Every, also known as Long Ben, was one of the most notorious pirates of his time, chiefly due to pulling off one of the most profitable pirate raids in history. Born in England in 1659, Every began his seafaring life in the Royal Navy before turning to piracy in the late 17th century. In 1695, he famously captured the Mughal ship Ganj-e-Sawai, which was loaded with precious metals and jewels. This act not only made him the most wanted pirate in the world, but also provoked a diplomatic crisis between England and the Mughal Empire. Despite the immense bounty on his head, Every eluded capture. He last appeared in records in 1696 when he and his crew reached the Bahamas. After that, his fate becomes a mystery. Some believe he may have changed his name and retired with his wealth. Others speculate that he squandered his fortune and died in poverty. His legend persists, often as a pirate who outsmarted everyone and vanished with his riches. At number 5, we have Edward Lowe. Edward Lowe was one of the most brutal pirates to ever terrorize the seas during the early 18th century. Born in London around 1690, Lowe started his seafaring career as a logwood cutter before turning to piracy in the waters of New England. His reputation for cruelty set him apart even in the ruthless world of piracy. He was known for his sadistic methods of torturing prisoners and his merciless disposition. Lowe's fleet grew to include multiple ships, and his notoriety spread as far as the Caribbean and the Western Atlantic, where he captured numerous ships. Despite his fearsome reputation, Lowe's career was marked by a rapid rise and equally rapid fall. After a series of defeats and desertions by his crew, he vanished from historical records around 1724. Some accounts suggest that he was killed by his own crew, while others propose he might have escaped to Brazil, leaving a legacy marked by extreme violence and brutality. At number 4, we have Captain William Kidd. Captain William Kidd, originally commissioned as a privateer to hunt pirates, ironically became one of the most infamous pirates himself. Born in Scotland around 1645, Kidd began his maritime career as a reputable privateer, but his fortunes turned when he embarked on a fateful expedition in 1696. His mission was to protect British trade from piracy and capture enemy French ships, but his crew grew mutinous when legitimate prizes were scarce. In an act of desperation, Kidd captured the Quetta merchant, an Armenian ship laden with valuable goods, which led to accusations of piracy. His attempts to clear his name were in vain. Upon returning to England, Kidd was arrested, tried, and executed in 1701. His story is enveloped in mystery and tales of buried treasure, contributing to the enduring legend of Captain Kidd. His life remains a cautionary tale of the thin line between privateering and piracy. At number 3, we have Bartholomew Roberts, more famously known as Black Bart. Bartholomew Roberts, better known as Black Bart, stands as one of the most successful pirates in the history of the golden age of piracy. Originally a third mate on a slave ship, Roberts was forced into piracy in 1719 when pirates captured his vessel. Rising quickly through the ranks due to his navigational skills and natural leadership, he soon commandeered his own ship and embarked on a remarkable piratical career. Over the course of just 3 years, Roberts captured and looted over 400 ships across the Atlantic and the African coasts. He was known for his strict pirate code, his refusal to drink alcohol, and his preference for fine clothing, which gave him a dashing image. Roberts' career ended when he was killed in a fierce naval battle against the British in 1722. His death marked the beginning of the end of the golden era of piracy, illustrating his significant influence on pirate history. At number 2, we have Anne Bonny. Anne Bonny was a standout figure in the predominantly male world of piracy, known for her fiery spirit and formidable combat skills. Born in Ireland around 1700 and raised in the Carolinas, Anne defied the norms of her time by dressing as a man and taking to the high seas. Her partnership with the infamous pirate Calico Jack is particularly legendary. Together, they commandeered the ship Revenge, terrorizing the Caribbean with their daring exploits. Anne was not just Rackham's partner in crime, but also a fierce fighter who commanded respect from her crew. Her life took a dramatic turn when she, along with Rackham and their crew, were captured in 1720. Unlike Rackham, who was executed, Anne's fate after her imprisonment is shrouded in mystery, contributing to her mythic status. Legends suggest she might have escaped execution due to her pregnancy, but her ultimate destiny remains a captivating enigma in pirate history. And finally, at number 1, we have Edward Teach, more famously known as Blackbeard. Edward Teach is arguably the most infamous pirate in the annals of maritime history. With his fearsome image enhanced by his thick black beard and his hair tied back with colorful ribbons, Blackbeard struck terror into the hearts of those he encountered. His flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was a former slave ship equipped with 40 guns, making it a formidable presence on the high seas. Blackbeard's notoriety peaked from 1716 to 1718 when he blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina, and held the city ransom for medicine. His tactical brilliance was evident in his use of intimidation over violence, often relying on his fearsome appearance to achieve compliance. Blackbeard's reign of terror ended dramatically in 1718 when he was killed in a fierce battle against British naval forces led by Lieutenant Robert Maynard at Ocracoke Inlet, solidifying his legacy as a legendary figure in pirate lore. These 10 pirates left an indelible mark on history, not just for their daring exploits, but also for their complex personalities and the legends.